Here. Okay, good morning. You will need two blankets and a strap of some variety for class today. That could be a belt, it could be a yoga strap, it could be a long piece of fabric like I use. So we will begin by sitting on both of your blankets. And I invite you to sit on them in hero's pose, which is your feet tucked back behind you and sit bones on the blanket. If it's too low for you to do this, if your knees feel at all weird, fold up the blanket, get it a little higher even, and you could even start much higher. It can feel a lot comfier. But if for some reason this shape is not the shape that your body enjoys being in, your knees or your hips or even your ankles, that's fine. Sit crisscross applesauce instead. Have the yoga strap nearby. And then take your hands and with your eyes closed, bring all 10 of your fingertips together. Just slowly. You may or may not find them right away, but it's a way to just help support proprioception and bringing your mind to the awareness of your body in the space around you. And so just let the fingertips rest against one another here. Feel both of your sit bones press down into the blanket. And just take a couple breaths or two, two or three, maybe even four. And just allow yourself to notice all the details of your body's experience of being here this morning, of just being on your mat. If it comes with any internal feelings or emotions, if you have more of a felt awareness of the physical body, or perhaps an even bigger awareness of the mental space today, the head space, the mind. Just noticing how all these things really overlap. And then begin to, as slowly as you can, press your entire hands together. So your palms touch, your fingers touch, and just gently press them into one another, a little more than you would normally do with hands right at your heart. And then identify the place of your sit bones, the two sit bones beneath you. And then explore engaging the muscles around your sit bones so that it's as if you're trying to squeeze your two sit bones closer together. It'll even change the angle of your pelvis and the lower back. And then bring your thumbs right to your hearts and continue that pressure, that connection with the hands. And then it's a little bit as if you're trying to press your hearts up into your thumbs. Yet simultaneously bring the sit bones closer together. So there's a lot of subtle details happening in this seated shape. And as you notice one drift off, just bring it back. The practice of mindfulness is more the choice of stepping toward where you want your attention to be in the here and now. Notice how it feels to bring the sit bones closer together just with the engagement of the muscles, and how it feels to have your heart pressing up into your thumbs. And then if your chin is reaching forward at all or lifted up, bring it to parallel with the floor and then tuck it back ever so slightly toward the neck. Couple more breaths here, just holding this active hero's pose or virasana. Finding a steady seat within by noticing all the details and working with all the details of a shape like this. And knowing that there's nothing to perfect, only more and more connection to be made between your mind, your breath, and your body in this shape. Bring the sit bones a teeny bit closer together. hold the sit bone activity, but let your arms relax. Bring your left hand down to the ground and your right arm reaches up and over. Keep the left shoulder rolling back. Again, sit bones are squeezing toward one another in a way that almost seems like you're trying to lift yourself up and off of this seat. Breathe one more big breath into the right side. And then exhale, switch over to the left side. Right hand down, left arm side stretches the whole side body. Not in a way that arches your back and leans you back, but bring the sit bones closer together and just reach straight over to the right side. Breathe deeply into the left side of your body, or just explore what that might feel like to you when you bring your mind's attention there. And then bring both arms down. Lift them all the way forward and up in front of you. And again, my natural instinct is to lift the tailbone and arch the back when I lift my arms. And that's where the bringing the two sit bones closer together comes in handy, And the core kind of activates a little bit as well when the two sit bones gather closer together. And with your arms reaching up, invite your shoulders to reach up high by your ears, like they're trying to touch your ears. And then lower just your shoulders back down away from the ears. And then lift them right back up. And just lift and lower the shoulders. Exploring your, I believe it's pronounced scapulohumeral movement. Rhythm is what it is. Rhythm, the movement of your scapula is basically what that means. So shoulders lift and lower a few more times. Sit bones still squeeze a little closer together. And then with your next exhale, twist to the right. Bring your right hand to the ground behind you and your left hand to your right leg. Looking all the way over the right shoulder. Again, sit bones lift. Core engages a little bit. And then inhale, both arms lift right back up. Exhale, twist to the other side. Again, if your body at any point starts to say this shape, sitting like this isn't the best for you, you can always switch to crisscross applesauce. And then come back through the middle. Lift all the way up onto your knees. Press your shins down into the ground and really squeeze your butt so that your hips press forward. And you might feel a stretch across the quads and a little bit in front of the hips as well. Bring both hands to your lower back like they're going into little pockets. And then squeeze your elbows together behind you as you lift the heart, yet work really hard on squeezing your buns. And then just breathe for a moment here. Elbows draw together. The low back should be lengthened and not the tailbone lifting up, so that we prevent that by squeezing the glutes, pressing the shins down, and squeezing the whole front body. Breathe in here. And exhale. Bring both hands down to the ground in front of you. Just nice and slow, maybe together at the same time. Inhale, cow pose. And exhale, cat pose. Rounding the spine. Then tuck your toes under. And if it's comfy for you today, lift your hips up and back, down dog. Otherwise, you're welcome to stay in tabletop position. Have your knees bent deeply so your spine can just be long. And I invite you to, with knees wide or feet wide apart, knees deeply bent. I invite you to notice the shoulders again in that same way that we lifted the shoulders up by the ears when we were seated and then lowered them. Explore that here for a moment. And then pause when you're in the shoulders up close by the ears shape. So you're actively pushing the ground away from you. Knees are deeply bent. And then I invite you to just take somewhere between 2 to 4 deep breaths here. Noticing the movement around your abdomen, especially as you breathe in this shape. And really have the knees deeply bent. Relax the back of your neck. And then both knees lower right back down to the ground. Untuck the toes. Breathe in, lift your left arm all the way up to the sky. Cinch in the core a little bit. And as you exhale, you'll reach the left arm underneath the right arm over to the right side. Breathe in, lift your arm right back up. And exhale, reach your arm under. Couple more times. Breathe in, arm lifts up. And exhale, reach. Inhale. And exhale. This time, switch the hands. So left hand plants to the ground, right arm lifts up. Notice if the rotation in your spine feels any different on this side. And with the full length of your exhale, weave your right arm under the left and just reach to the side for a moment. And then inhale to bring your arm all the way back up. And last time, breathe in, arm lifts up. And then exhale, hand down to the ground. Walk your hands forward. Shoulders again lift up by your ears as your hips go back a little bit and forehead comes down to the ground. The ground feels far away in this shape. Grab one of your blankets and put it under your forehead. And then your hands, you just want to be up on the fingertips. So it's as if those 10 fingertips are pressing together again, but instead they're pressing into the ground. Shoulders lift up by your ears. You can press your shins and the tops of your feet down into the ground a little bit as well. Puppy dog pose, or what's called heart melting pose, Anahatanasana. And again, as you pause here, notice what your breathing feels like here. Where you feel your breath moving in your torso, rather. If it's similar to what we did in down dog, or if you feel movement from your breathing happen in a different area of the torso, a little more in this shape. And then lift your head a little teeny bits and reach your right arm underneath you and set your head and shoulder down. If your shoulder gets in the way a little bit of your head resting all the way to the ground, you can put a blanket under your head. Crawl that left hand as far forward as it can go. And then I invite you to just be here. Maybe that means more listening to the different sounds around you. The felt sense of those sound waves and where your body responds to those. That includes the ears and how sound is felt within the head and perhaps within your stomach or your toes. The internal rhythm matching up with things happening around you. Or rather harmonizing with. Bring your left hand in close to your face so you can lift back up onto both arms. And then left hand weaves underneath the right arm and set the head and shoulder down to the ground. Right arm crawls all the way forward. I invite you to just notice the steady flow of your own breathing. Or Perhaps if that's not your favorite place to focus today, you can notice the points of contact between your body and the ground, your shoulder, the side of the head, your fingertips. One shin has lifted away from the ground, you could press it down a little more. And even your eyes are a way to help focus and steady the mind. There's some neat somatic practices out there of just really being particular with your eye focus. So you can just focus on one spot and be there, yet also feel into a felt sense of the space behind you. Or you can consciously move your eyes from side to side as far as they can go and pause and try to focus on something on each side, just for a few rounds. Then right hand comes back by your face. Back up into tabletop position. Tuck the toes under, lift your hips and your knees. And then walk your hands all the way back toward your feet, bending your knees as much as you need to get there. Pause a moment. Let the back of your neck relax. And then begin to slowly roll all the way up to stand. Both arms reach up. Cinch in your core, squeeze your butt, and then just side bend over to the left side, holding your hands however you'd like. And then inhale, arms right back up. Side bend to the other side. Core squeezes, buns squeeze. Inhale, arms lift. And then exhale, hands to your hips. And lift your right foot up and step it gently forward. Bending into the right knee, left leg straightens a little more. We don't want any pressure in the lower back. Cinch in your core so your hip points lift up and squeeze that whole left leg, thigh, butt, you name it. Short stance here. Shoulders draw back. Breathe in a deep breath. And then as you exhale, soften both knees a little bit and step right back to where you were. Focusing on this backward movement a little bit today to help your brain really focus on strengthening your proprioception, which helps just bring the body here and now. Hands to hips, left foot lifts, and then takes that step forward. Squeeze the right leg, right butt, core. Pause for a moment, heart lifts. And then with your next exhale, soften the legs, step back. And it's a nice extra challenge to keep the blanket in between the feet. So you have to focus on knowing a little bit of where it's at. Let your proprioception do that, and then step back to either side of it. So right foot lifts. Breathe in, and then slowly take that step forward. Squeeze the whole left leg. Breathe in. Exhale, step back. Left foot lifts. Activate that whole right leg. Step it forward. Bend the left knee. And explore this idea of noticing or feeling into the space behind you, maybe even picturing what it looks like. And then where your body's at in space, your legs, your shoulders, and step back. One more time, each side. Right foot goes forward. And then step right back. Left foot goes forward. Ooh, moved a little quicker that time. And left foot steps back. Breathe and lift up your arms. Squeeze the buns. Exhale. Forward fold over the legs. Walk your hands all the way back out. Lower both knees down to the ground. Breathe in, cow pose. Untuck the toes. Exhale, cat pose. Round the spine, tuck your chin in. And then keep the chin tucked in. And begin to just lift the tailbone. So the lower back begins to curve the other way, then the mid back, then the upper back, and then at the very end, your neck and head look forward. Exhale, begin with your head. Tuck your chin in toward your heart really closely. And then from there, the mid back and upper back begin to round as your core cinches in. Shins press down into the mat. And then one more time, unfurl. Tailbone begins to lift up first. And then your spine moves toward cow pose with your head moving very last. And last time, chin tucks in first, shins press down, round the spine toward cat pose. And then go ahead and sit all the way back onto your blankets. Again, make sure they're tall enough for you. If you need to add more, you can add more. If you need to sit crisscross, sit crisscross. This can be a big stretch for the thighs too. Grab your long piece of fabric. Reach both arms up overhead. And then begin to bend your right elbow, bringing your hand behind your head, and the right elbow stays pointing up and it's close to your head, so much that your head might be able to lean on that arm a little bit. Rotate your left palm out as your left shoulder draws back, and then notice what shape you've naturally taken here with the spine. Shoulders are what we're focused on for the stretch, but just notice the natural pattern, not with a judgment of should or shouldn't be, but invite the two sit bones to activate and come closer together. Breathe in here. And just explore a really slow breath out through the nose if that's possible for you today. And then go ahead and switch the arms. Both arms lift up. And then bend the left elbow as your right hand goes down and back. And I've already naturally puffed my chest up. Squeeze the two sit bones closer to one another. Core engages a little bit. And then you can allow your head to maybe lean on that left arm a little bit. Rotate the right palm out. Just breathe here. In through the nose and slowly, slowly out through the nose. Like as if you had a Kleenex hanging in front of your nose and it wouldn't move at all as you breathe out. And naturally, all of this is just a practice of these things. Relax your sit bones. Reach both arms right back up. Breathe in. And then exhale, bring the band behind your head and both hands out in front of you with elbows bent. Squeeze the sit bones together once more. Bring them a little closer together and just gently press the very back of your head straight back. So your chin draws in towards the throat and the back of the neck gets a gentle stretch. You might even feel it down the sides of your neck and the tops of the shoulders too. Notice what sounds you can hear within your own space versus the sounds that you can hear outside of your space. Maybe in another room, maybe completely outside. And then go ahead and relax. Release the band. Set it off to the side. And then we are going to unfold the blankets so they're just long and narrow. Yeah. And then tailbone sits down on the floor. And as you're ready, just recline all the way back onto the blankets and fold the very end up so that your head gets a little more support than everything else. And then if you'd like to work on opening the muscles across the front of your shoulders a little more, reaching your arms out to the sides might be really supportive. If you want your arms to be in closer, bring them in closer. And for your spine, the lower back is at the gentlest arc if you keep your knees bent and just resting against one another. If it is okay for your body, especially with the amount that you're propped up, to do crisscross applesauce or straight legs, you're welcome to explore either of those things as they pertain to how your anatomy feels. There should be no sensation in the lower back at all. Like, we don't want to feel anything in the lower back, regardless of if it feels maybe kind of good or pinchy. We don't want to feel anything there other than just a gentle support. If you really liked sitting in hero's pose with the feet tucked back behind you, you can explore one leg doing that here. But again, we're not propped up super high, so that might not be the most comfortable for your body. And then we'll do a couple rounds of guided breathing. And as ever, with any breathing practice, if today you start to do it and it doesn't work for you, that's okay. Just return to normal breathing. This is something that I would like to have feel relaxing and maybe focusing. And so if it doesn't feel relaxing, if it doesn't feel like it's helping you focus, just choose to rest in a different way. So if you'd like to follow along with the breathing, just take a deep breath in, as much air as you can, and let it go all the way out. And then breathe in 4, 3, 2, 1, and pause to hold your breath for a moment. And then exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause and hold, just bringing attention to the part of our day that's most autopilot, the breath. Exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last 2 rounds. Breathe in 4, 3, 2, 1. And exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Last retention of the breath here. Exhale 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let your breathing rhythm return to whatever pattern works for you to just rest within. Allowing the support beneath you to support you by letting each muscle relax again and again as you notice them. Maybe that comes with noticing some relax a little easier than others. And then with your next breath in, you can reach your arms up overhead, Maybe extend the legs out long for a full body stretch. And then from here, as you're ready, if you want to stay here longer, it's a great shape to remain in for anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes. But if you're ready to get up, roll off to one side to come out of this one. And then make your way back up to seated. Thank you, friends, so much for being here. The light in me honors the same in both of you. Namaste. Thank you.